Well, he talks about Babylon, the modern Babylon, as an Akshaf. And that is, Akshaf is a sorcerer's city, a sorcerer's country, a sorcerer's world. When we talk about sorcerers, it means those people who are doing kashaf, who are whispering bad things to allow to do and allows them to do, right? Like witchcraft, pagan worshiping, child molestation, pedophiles. We know the modern Babylon and the Epstein files, the names in there are the ones who are running this Babylon today. Hello, Lightwarriors Rising. Welcome back to the channel. Please like, subscribe, and share. And brothers and sisters and friends, know that we are in the end times, but also even closer to the day of wrath, to the judgment day, to the dark cloudy day when God is sending his son Jesus to collect his bride, but also to and inflict or to let Satan take that portion of the earth that he wants to conquer. Satan has known since the beginning. He's an angel of light. He has seen Jesus. He has seen God. He knows what is happening. He knows everything. He knows the Bible. He knows what times we're in dispensation times, but he does not know the day, right? The exact timing of the judgment day and the rapture. And this is why we're seeing such a push towards a movement to bring in the Antichrist, to set up the digital system, to create a world with less population, and to inflict famine, oil shortages, famine on the population, on the world population, to create that new world order. When Trump came into power, brothers and sisters, friends, you remember he did not address the American public first. He went to in Switzerland, he went to Devon to address the World Economic Forum first. Why? Why? Because his allegiance is with the World Economic Forum. Who runs the World Economic Forum? Well, look at the who runs it, right? Who is esteemed in there? People like Elon Musk, right? Bill Gates, Trump, all Iranian, right? Palestinian state solution people who are pushing for that. And we're not here, this channel is not to take side or not to discuss, have a confrontation in sense of political terms, but we know the times we're in. And this is why we're looking every single day at what is happening in the world. And not only that, but God let us know from the beginning. We started this channel, this ministry last year when we first saw the Pakistani and India talks about the nuclear war. And that's a dream I had in 2000, when at that time we didn't even know, or very few people knew that India and Pakistan have nuclear weapons. So when I looked it up, and I was always wondering, well, how is this going to happen? I mean, why India and Pakistan? And that was a time marker, because this is how God talks to us, to you and me, and to everybody who listens. They give you dreams, they give you visions, they give you walking visions, awake visions, right? Where you see something that's happening in real life as if you were there, although you aren't there. And to me, that was my time marker where I said, no, you know what? We're reaching the end times. We're entering the conflict zone. This is the times in last year, right in May, when this all started and had that big revival. And now we are seeing in August 2026, we're seeing the rhetoric where both sides of the conflict, or Iran, USA, Strait of Hormuz conflict turning nuclear in nuclear terms. Why? Well, because this whole thing has been planned from the beginning. The Antichrist is ready to come, so they cannot bring the Antichrist in unless the population is ready for that. So not be just with movies, showing pre-programming through movies, through Hollywood movies, about saviors of alien nature, saviors of Buddhist nature, of oracles coming from high above who are going to save the world, right? The New Earth, the conversations where they're looking at the light as a savior, as the people of light as a savior, but not Jesus. They make that very clear. It's not Jesus. So they're cutting Jesus out right away. And we've seen this rhetoric against the Christians or against the newborn believers expanding more and more through new laws and new rules, right? Canada has now if you start giving out Bible verses as a means of documentation, of say, look, this is what the word says, you are being shadow banned. We're seeing this with all our channels, right? You're talking about these issues. You are not going to have hundreds of thousands of followers. That's it, or millions of followers. You're not going to be an influencer. That's so clear. So it's shadow banned. But why? Well, because it's time for the Antichrist to come in. And we know that we are not going to be here to see the Antichrist arriving because we are being removed just prior to that. And we can see right now how the entire infrastructure of the Western world is being crumbled apart, right? Oil refineries, the food industry, right? And sure, everything is pinpointed back to the Strait of Hormuz. It because the Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz, but we forget to mention, but who else started? Who went in there and created this mess? And why? Why is our government talking to the Economic Forum and not to the American people? Why is our government letting all these things happening? Why is our government not letting people know that we are seeing an oil shortage? We're not hearing from the government. We're hearing from whistleblowers like you and I, from Christians, from newborn believers, from shell corporations like Shell Company, right? Or Exxon, who are letting us know how bad the situation is with the oil. And let me share you the news here. So look at on Hal Turner on August 17. He's reporting diesel crack reaches $102 per barrel. Wholesale now $186 per barrel plus taxes for diesel. Now we know the food industry relies on diesel. So what is the crack spread in the oil industry relative to diesel fuel? The crack spread is the difference between the price of crude oil and the price of the refined petroleum products. The term crack comes from the refining process of cracking longer chain hydrocarbon molecules in crude oil into lighter, more valuable shorter chain products such as gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and others. Diesel is the fuel that allows trucks to bring food to your store, through your Walmart, and not just food, any products. So food, uh, clothing, plastic product, right? Computer chips and computers and cell phones and everything that you need to live, right? Most of them created out of the petrochemicals. In the 1960s, when they finally did that chemical, they found that chemical way to create these items from oil byproduct, it was the big 1960s. It was the big, right? All your plastics, all your clothing, polyester. That polyester, for example, is a byproduct from the petrochemicals from the oil. So it's not just the food. It's not just your gas in your car. It's everything. And God says who Babylon is. He gives a picture of who are those people who support the Antichrist, or the Antichrist is going to come, but also the devil himself in today's society. Well, he talks about Babylon, the modern Babylon, as an akshaf, and Akshaf is a sorcerer's city, a sorcerer's country, a sorcerer's world. When we talk about sorcerers, it means those people who are doing kashaf, who are whispering bad things to allow to do, and allows them to do, right? Like witchcraft, pagan worshiping, child molestation, pedophiles. We know the modern Babylon, and the Epstein files, the names in there are the ones who are running this Babylon today. So there is no wonder then that in order for the Antichrist to come and finally get rid of for the Christians and the newborn believers and everybody who loves Jesus and opposes this kind of bad things, wars and criminal activity and mafia activity and drugs and prostitution and child trafficking, uh, sex trafficking, all those and crimes and all those people are or will be subject to the dark cloudy day. But in order for that to happen, God allows God allows the axis of the Mecca Pact, right? The Russia, Iran axis, right? And including there Syria, Pakistan, Palestine, like everybody who's aligning themselves with this kind of thinking to take to create such a distress in today's society where there will be no more gas at the pumps, there will be no more food in your stores, there will be no more emergency rooms opened anymore because either there's no electricity or they don't have the products for the emergency room, for example, or surgeries, right? They need specific things that all depend on the oil industry. And this is why we've seen that push towards getting away from the oil industry. Because, so they'd say, well, it's bad for the planet. Yes, it may be. But until you have something else to use and properly use it, uh, you can't just take it away, right? If you're a wise king in your country, you know that there will be people starving. And this is what's coming, brothers and sisters. So, first of all, the oil shortages are coming. Diesel shortages are coming, and that we're already tapping into the military reserves. So, if when a 9/11 happens on U.S. soil, everything shuts down because they will need to use the oil or right and the gas for the military. And we've seen that before. After Pearl Harbor happened, the public was very open and agreed and supported and sending young men and women to war with Germany. Right now, there is no support for that. In contrary, people are not very happy to see our young men and women out in the Strait of Hormuz, right? Maybe suffering through all those, I know, shortages on board. On Abraham Lincoln, you heard the story about what's happening there, and Trump just came out and said, "Well, no, that is not even true. None of that is true." Again, lies upon lies upon lies. The question is, but why? We're seeing this, we're sickened of this kind of lies all the time, and not owning, right, and not being accountable. But it's so the picture is so much bigger than that. It's not just Trump, it's everybody else in the world. All the presidents are have been sold their soul have sold their soul to the enemy, right? To the devil itself. And you can see that with any advance in your career, you have to give away ethical questioning. You can't ask questions, but why? The more you advance in your career or in politics or on your office, managerial structure, up and down structure, right? As soon as you go further, as the more you go further up, the less questions you're allowed to ask. If your ethics says, but this is not right, why are we doing this? Why allowing this to happen? You're being told right away, well, you either let it go, don't ask questions, play the game, or take your leave and you lose your career. And this is how this all functions, right? You give away parts of your soul. You sell your soul for what? For power, for money, for more money, for daily pleasures. And this is why Jesus never came as a king or a prince, to teach us that no, look what happens as soon as you want to stay strong in your faith, strong in your ethical boundaries, in your morality. As soon as you try to do that, you're being pushed down. What happened with the CV? You didn't take the pokey pokey, you were automatically fired. If not fired, people knew and management knew to target you, right? You either lost your job or you were targeted. So, so when we're talking about oil shortages, that's going to create famine. That's something that's being let to happen by those who practice kashaf, by those who practice selling their soul to something else. They'll get that in exchange for power, for money, right? They whisper sorcery. They whisper bad things to happen. They allow it to happen. Think about we're talking about Epstein files. Well, think about the airplane pilots who flew those planes. They saw what was happening. Did anybody say anything? No. It was easy as, well, you're going to say something. You're not going to fly your plane anymore, nor will you live, right? Uh, think about the Clinton administration, where the people were dying left and right, or suiciding themselves left and right. So this is how we're seeing that there is literally a nefarious net of a spirit that digs and eats away at humanity's soul, right? On their children's soul until they grow up, and then they have a choice to make. Well, are you going to play the game or not? Right? And know that this is how God let us know. One, how Jesus came. Jesus was a model for us. Look, you want to be true to your heart, you cannot be in power. Bottom line, look at all the pastors, all the church people who are running the churches. As soon as they start making money, their character changes. As soon as money comes into the conversation, right? Look at the mafia. And these are all things allowed to happen. And when next time we're going to talk about exactly who is which people during the history have allowed this to happen and for what purposes. So we know that our cloudy day is on its way. We know the oil shortage is just about to happen, and we only have 3-4 weeks left before a 9/11 event to happen. We're not saying that this is exactly what's going to happen, but just happens to on the calendar to align with the 9/11 and the Feast of Trumpets. This year, Feast of Trumpets falls around 9/11 of September. So, friends, brothers and sisters, please believe your prayers of request in underneath the pinned comment. If you want to draw closer to Jesus and know Jesus, find the prayer of salvation in the pinned comment. Please like, subscribe, and share this message. And I know we don't have a lot of followers on this channel, and that is okay. And because we know that whatever God says reaches you who needs to hear in its original language. What God says in its about today's events, He tells us in its original language, portraying a picture that has a bit more deeper meaning and overlaps with Bible prophecy, with the word itself. So I hope to see you soon. If not, I will see you in the cloud. God bless you wherever you are, and stay strong in faith, and know that we're getting closer to our wedding day. I love you all. Deanna signing out.